Hi, I'm Grant.
I'm Ethan.
We are going to be teaching my dog Milo to fetch. It's a trick that has been around for a long time, and it actually started out with hunters, and they would train their dogs to fetch a fallen bird or other small animal. But today it is now a fun and helpful exercise for both dog and man.
So let's begin.
Okay, so for our experiment, we are going to be using positive reinforcement by rewarding him with a treat every single time that he successfully retrieves and gives the toy back. And we're going to give him one of these treats. We're also going to be using secondary reinforcement, which means that we're not starving him and then giving him a treat, which would be primary, where you're giving him food and then this treat is just extra food, which makes it secondary. We're going to start with short distances and reward him each time he gets closer and closer to what we want him to do, similar to the exercise that we did in class with the clapping as I took a step forward to laying down. So that will be our successive approximation, and we'll see how it goes.
So we're going to be using a fixed ratio method of reinforcement. Every time that he does something we want him to do, we're going to reward it. We're going to reward it every time with a treat. So it's obviously not variable because every time that we do it, we're going to reward him. And it's a ratio rather than an interval because every time that he does it, we will reward him rather than every amount of time, like every 5 minutes versus every time that he does it.
Okay, so we're just going to show you a sample of exactly what we're going to do. And because we can't necessarily show you using our actual subject, Milo the dog, we're going to be using me as a sample dog. Suspend your disbelief here.
And I'll throw the toy for him.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you exactly what we want him to do and run the course. Okay.
Fetch! Come here!
Fetch. Fetch. So, as you can tell, this is our first take. Milo's not getting the idea of fetching, but we're just going to continue to reward him for every single step he takes that way. He's walking the other way. We'll try take two. Here we go. Okay, ready? Fetch. No! Fetch. We're going to test generalization by switching the toy to see if he generalizes and still goes after the toy. We're also going to test a different way of doing it by saying lech, which is a similar word to fetch, and seeing if he generalizes and does the same motions that he does when you do say fetch. And if he does not, then he will be discriminating, and if he, by telling a difference between the two, then he will discriminate. Lech, the toy. Lech. So I guess you could say he's generalizing because he didn't do it when we said fetch, and he's still not doing it when we say lech. And having a different toy is not helping, so you could say he's generalizing.
Now we're going to test extinction and spontaneous recovery by waiting an hour and seeing if Milo can pick it up later on or if he just totally loses it.
Has it been an hour yet?
No.
Fetch. Come. Come. Good boy. Okay, here we go. Take two. Here we go. Ready? No inch. Oh, he's not okay. Here we go. Ready? And fetch. Alright, come here. Get the fetch. Get it? Alright, come here. fetch the toy. Okay, here we go. And drop. Oh my god. Hey, Milo. Through our conditioning, Milo did not necessarily do a successful fetch and retrieve, although he did get better after an hour and a half training. Through our shaping, it was not a successful experiment per se, but he did, towards the end, get a lot better, and there is hope for good old Milo the dog in his fetching career.